Hi everyone, my name is Phyllis and I'm the owner of Mad Moody Quilting Fabrics. I have been working on a tutorial doing an applique block showing you step by step how we do this, and this is what the block will look like when it's finished, and this is our block that we're working with. So I have, we've progressed quite far. We talked about how to do this overlay and how to line it up, how to attach it to the background fabric. We talked about, and I showed you in a past video, how to prep your stems and how to go and start doing your applique down. I talked about how to do a physical applique stitch. So now we're just kind of going through the different shapes and putting it all down. The last video I showed you how to prep a circle, and I hope to do that in an upcoming video one more time, so you guys will know, because we have two other circles. We have this circle and this circle. So right now I want to show you how I go around this piece and how to do a corner. We did cover a corner on this block, right, this corner here, but we're going to follow and do more. You see that we have all these points, so you're going to have a perfect time to test and practice doing pointy tips. So this is a tulip-like shape, and I've started it, and I'm coming up to this corner. I'm going to show you how to get around here and then come in here and do this piece, this shape here. I showed you a little bit how to do that kind of shaping here, but let's go over it one more time. So I'm going to do a cut. I'm going to use my needle to tuck in. This is called needle turn, and so I'm going to work on getting that done. And I've matched my thread as good as possible. So right now, if I did another, I could do another stitch. Let me do one more stitch, and then I will prep my pointed corner of the flower. So we want to cut off the tip and make it a straight line. All right, and then we're going to flip this under. There we go. And then we're going to take this and we're going to flip it under again on this side to make this a nice curve. And then we're going to go ahead and sew right up to the point. You want to sew, and when you bring your stitch back up, you want to be in that first fold right here. So we're going to continue till we get there. Okay, and then we're just going to come straight out of that tip. Now we're going to turn the work, because I can only sew in one direction, and we're going to flip this in. I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. I think that's as good as I'm going to get it. You know, with practice we get better and better, and some days you get a perfect point, and other days not so perfect. But that is okay. I think yes, I did. Oh my God. I lost the end. So let me see if I can get this threaded fast. My needle is a little bent, so I'm having problems seeing. Just going to take a little end off, and then There we go. I may have to get the needle threader out. This needle is a little bent, so I'm struggling to get it to point in the direction that I need it to point. Oh, I think I got it in. Yes, I did. Oh, that didn't take too long. I didn't need the threader. All right, so we're going to come and continue coming along here. And we're going to continue appliquing this down. Oop, the day. Now, I'm sure you noticed that I have some other stuff that's pinned, so I'm going to show you more things as we work our way around this flower. And I'm coming up to that corner, so then we're going to just grab a little bit of each of the, this keeps grabbing the little applique needles. There's a reason why I use the small applicator needles, because I can control better if I use the big applique needles. Okay, so we have to get this raw edge of this point, and we're just going to take our needle and we're just going to do a swipe. And I'm going to take another stitch. I think I'll double check that swipe again. Yeah, that's perfect. And we're going to come into this corner. We're going to shorten our stitch length that runs behind the work a little bit, because we want a few extra stitches coming into the curve. And into the curve, I'm just going to give it one more swipe. I'm going to do a tiny, tiny stitch right there. So I have two side by side, almost side by side. And then I'm going to get this corner fixed. Take some tinier stitches going up. And get rid of this applique. And there we go. And then I'm just going to smooth this all out. And come up to the point again. Now, I think I can only take one more stitch, and then I have to prepare my point. So I'm going to show you again how we do that prep. I take the point off, I take my needle, and I fold this edge in half to the point of the freezer paper. I fold at the freezer paper, tucking. That's a little too much. Don't like that. And there, that's better. And then I'm going to roll this in and roll the rest of it under, taking my needle and kind of tucking everything in. If I don't like it, I just use my needle to kind of reposition the seam allowance so it's lying flat and spread across neatly. I'm going to get rid of that. And we're coming up to the corner, and what do? We make sure that we only come to the point of the corner. We want the thread to come out there. We might need to, shorten our stitch length a little bit. And here we go again. We're going to turn, and then we're going to get it fixed. And I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to stab myself with all the pins. Alright, so now we're just going to take this piece and we're just going to wrap it under, do a little stitch right at the top. We want it a couple of stitches there, and then we continue down the other side of the flower. I'm just gonna finish this because I'd like to show it to you. Just making sure that as I tuck, I spread the seam allowance with my needle, making sure that and you don't want to hold your pieces super tight while you're trying to do a needle turn, and the reason is because then you can't get the fabric in there. So you need to kind of keep a gap in there, and I can do a couple stitches before I do a needle turn. And don't over pull your thread when you stitch it. So when you come out and you pull your thread, when you're pulling it, don't over pull it, just tight enough so it doesn't have a bubble, but loose enough that you're not pulling in the background. You don't want to gather up the background because that will shrink your block a little too much. So now I need to get this nice and smooth around this corner, and it's not going in. Okay, so I'm just gonna, there we go, and I'm just gonna take my needle and kind of try to smooth out that folded edge and come around and continue sewing. And I'm thinking I need to work on getting, there we go, that's better. You want that folded edge around the flower to be quite as smooth as you can get it. You don't want folds, you want them to lie flat and smooth. So, and I think I managed to get it pretty good. Oop, I have a little knot and no more. And I just have a couple more stitches to do. There we go. I think that's as smooth as I'm gonna get it. And it's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. No flower in real life is perfect. So we pull the thread to the back, and again we do a knot. So making sure that it's behind the piece that we've just sewn down so you cannot see it on the front side of your work. Cut it down, and we can take off the freezer paper, and there's your tulip. Your pieces are quite smooth looking. You've got a really nice dip here, and your points are very nice. So let's do the leaf now. So I'm just gonna pop that there. Now I'm gonna show you, there's two leaves that come out from underneath this flower. I have placed and started to sew one of them, and I'm just about here. So I don't have to sew this whole part here underneath because it's going to be covered by, some of it's going to be covered by this leaf, and some of it's going to be covered by this petal. Most of it will be covered by this petal. So we don't have to come and sew this whole edge down. What we do have to do is sew into where it's going to be covered. So I started here, right there. I started right there, and I think I need to come to about there to make sure that it is past and underneath this petal here. So I'm going to close that off and show you what that looks like, and then I'm going to put the other leaf on. Okay, so I need to go a little further because I have established that I'm not far enough under where is it? Here it is. Okay, so I'm just going to continue like we've been doing, just sewing and placing, and turning under the needle with the needle, and making nice applique hidden stitches. And I think now I am past where I want to be. I am just past. So I think I'll do one more stitch. Just one more stitch. I don't have to worry about this corner. I can just leave it. I don't have to get, and I'm just doing a stitch underneath. It doesn't have to be perfect underneath because it's going to be, and you see how far away I am. I'm not worrying about it because the other petal's gonna, the other petal edge is up here, so this is all hidden. So I just need it to make sure that it's tacked down well enough to make sure that my raw edges are tucked under. So here I am, I'm tying it off behind the fabric that I just sewed down. I don't want any of these tie-offs to show, and I don't want to pull it too tight. And there we go. So now this thread I think is going to be good enough, or dark enough, or light enough for the other leaf. And yeah, I think so. So I'm going to remove this. And here we are. And now we're going to put this leaf in. And this leaf covers this stem. So here we go. I've got the leaf all ready to go. And it's like that. I'm going to slide it under. And I'm going to get it pinned. There we go. I'm going to double check to make sure it is. And there you go. So for the next class, we're going to continue working on these flowers. You see that I've placed the under ones, and I'm going to have them sewn. You would start sewing here. You don't have to sew this whole edge, and then you would come up around and then sew. You just want to make sure that your edges are tucked under far enough past the other petal that will cover it, so you won't see any raw edges. And it's very important that you do that. And this is the same thing. You would start about here, sew along, do that point like we've been showing you, and then stop about there. And then this petal for the flower is going to cover all this other stuff that we didn't stitch down. So next class I will have this sewn in, and I'll have these almost sewn in, and hopefully we'll be able to, and I think I'll start putting these in after I get this sewn, this leaf sewn. I'll do these next. So we'll be a little further along, and hopefully we'll be able to finish this off by the next class, or one more after that. So stay tuned. If you want to see more of these videos, click the subscribe button below and follow me, and you will be notified. If you hit the bell, you'll be notified if when I upload any of my videos. So take care and happy sewing. Bye bye.